Well, that was quick. Donald Trump has bent the knee to Mexico's powerful president, Claudia Sheinbaum, less than 24 hours after Donald Trump threatened blanket tariffs against Mexico and Canada in the amount of 25%. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum reached out to Donald Trump, and she basically convinced him to say that he's now solved all of the problems and things are good now. It's not clear if he's going to not make good on his tariff threat, but this is like some of the most embarrassing posts I've ever seen. This is what Donald Trump just posted. He goes, "Just had a wonderful conversation with the new president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo. She has agreed to stop migration through Mexico and into the United States, effectively closing the southern border, everybody." We also talked about what can be done to stop the massive drug inflow into the United States and also U.S. consumption of these drugs. It was a very productive conversation, exclamation point. And then Donald Trump writes, "I will be working on a large-scale United States advertising campaign explaining how bad fentanyl is for people to use. Millions of lives being so needlessly destroyed. By the time the campaign is over, everyone will know how really bad this drug fentanyl is." And then Donald Trump, because all he does is social media posts, goes, "Mexico will stop people from going to our southern border, effective immediately. This would go a long way towards stopping the illegal invasion of the United States. Thank you!" Exclamation point. I mean, look, border contacts have been down under Biden by about 75%, as we've been reporting. Border crossings in the Biden administration after MAGA Republicans killed the bipartisan border deal, which Biden wanted to pass. And then Biden took measures into his own hands. The border crossings are down 75, 80%. They're lower now than they were under the Trump administration. I like how Donald Trump via social media is like, "I just solved an 80-year problem in 24 hours after one phone call." And that's what everyone says about Donald Trump. Like, you can get him on the phone, just say anything to him, and he's like, "It's been solved. It's been solved." I mean, that's not serious leadership, folks. And I understand that Fox and right-wing media is going to spike the football and go, "It's been solved. The border's now closed." It's what it is under President Biden. You just literally now attack for what you attacked Biden for. You're now just creating the Trump propaganda for. If anything, you should be saying how absolutely weak this was that Donald Trump's like, okay, now apparently everything's solved. One phone call, that's done. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. As Sam Stein goes, he got it done, folks. We're good to go. We're done. By the way, let me just read for you the statement that Claudia Sheinbaum sent to Donald Trump, a letter she sent to him. And this is what triggered that phone call. This is what she said. She goes, "Mexico City, November 26, 2024. She goes, "Dear President-elect Donald Trump, I'm writing to you regarding your statement on Monday, November 25th, concerning migration, fentanyl trafficking, and tariffs. You may not be aware that Mexico has developed a comprehensive policy to assist migrants from different parts of the world who cross our territory en route to the southern border of the United States. As a result, and according to data from your country's Customs and Border Protection, CBP, encounters at the Mexico-United States border have decreased by 75% between December 2023 and November 2024. Moreover, half of those who arrive do so through a legally scheduled appointment under the United States CBP-1 program. For these reasons, migrant caravans no longer arrive at the border." Pause there. I'm going to read you more of Claudia Sheinbaum's letter. But what she's saying is even before Donald Trump and her had that call on November 27th, she's saying there are no more migrant caravans under President Biden. It doesn't exist. So there's nothing new that she said to Donald Trump on the phone call that doesn't exist already. It's just the propaganda. She goes on to say, from Donald Trump, she goes on to say, "Even so, it is clear that we must work together to create a new labor mobility model that is necessary for your country." Pause. You know what she's saying there? A new labor mobility model. What she's putting in there is she's saying, okay, your mass deportation thing is stupid. You need a legal pathway towards citizenship of the labor that is working the farms and working in construction. The millions of jobs that are being done by migrants who don't have their papers, which she's basically telling him to adopt right there, is exactly what his entire campaign was against. And he's too dense and MAGAs are to even realize what it is that she's saying, or perhaps they do realize it and don't care. What do you think she means there by saying a new labor mobility model that is necessary for your country? She's schooling Trump. She's saying your immigration system is broken and you need a pathway towards citizenship. You need comprehensive immigration reform. That's what she's saying. She goes, as well as addressing the root cause that compel families to leave their homes out of necessity. If even a small percentage of what the United States allocates to war were instead dedicated to building peace and fostering development, it would address the underlying causes of human mobility. In other words, instead of you building up a military industrial complex, perhaps you can actually focus on addressing labor flows and having a comprehensive immigration system. She then goes on to say, on another note, and for humanitarian reasons, Mexico has consistently expressed its willingness to help prevent the fentanyl epidemic in the United States from continuing. This is, after all, a public health and consumption problem within your society, referring to America, not ours in Mexico. She goes on to say, so far this year, Mexican armed forces and prosecutors have seized tons of various types of drugs, 10,340 firearms, and have detained 15,640 individuals for violence relating to drug trafficking. Furthermore, the Mexican Congress is in the process of approving a constitutional reform to classify the production, distribution, and commercialization of fentanyl and other synthetic drugs as a serious crime without bail. However, it is publicly known that the chemical precursors used to produce this and other synthetic drugs are illegally entering Canada, the United States, and Mexico from Asian countries. This underscores the urgent need for international collaboration. You must also be aware of the illegal trafficking of firearms into my country from the United States. 70% of the illegal weapons seized from criminals in Mexico come from your country. We do not produce these weapons, nor do we consume synthetic drugs. Tragically, it is in our country that lives are lost to the violence resulting from meeting the drug demand in yours. In other words, 99.9% of the consumers of synthetic drugs are in America. About 90% of traffickers are Americans, not from Mexico. Now, they're Americans who are doing it. So it's your country that's causing problems in ours. She's standing up to Donald Trump right there. She goes on to say, Trump, migration and drug consumption in the United States cannot be addressed through the threat of tariffs. What is needed is cooperation and mutual understanding to tackle these significant challenges. For every tariff, there will be a response in kind until we put at risk our shared enterprise. She's threatening him. She's saying, you want to put a tariff on me? Take a look at the tariffs we're going to put on you. And she makes it specific. Yes, shared. For instance, among Mexico's main exporters to the United States are General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford Motor Company, which arrived in Mexico 80 years ago. So why impose a tariff that would jeopardize them? Such a measure would be unacceptable and would lead to inflation and job losses in both the United States and Mexico. That's what she means by saying, we will put at risk our shared enterprise. You come for us, we come for you. We'll both be at risk. You want mutually assured destruction? Bring it on. We're ready for you, chump. She goes on to say, I am convinced that North America's economic strength lies in maintaining our trade partnership. This allows us to remain competitive against other economic blocs. For this reason, I believe that dialogue is the best path to understanding peace and prosperity for our nations. I hope our teams can meet soon to continue building joint solutions right there. And by the way, she said that before the call with Donald Trump, and Trump's basically what? Adopting everything that she said. Should be noted too, as Camilo Montoya Galvez writes, Unlawful crossings at the U.S.-Mexican border are on track to drop to a new low for the Biden administration in November, according to the Border Patrol data. Trump could very well inherit a relatively quiet border. That's the status on the border. As the Mirror U.S. points out, illegal immigrant crossings are at all-time lows right now. They're at a low despite Donald Trump's fear-mongering, and we've been seeing this month over month over month. Also, one other point I want to make as well, you know how Donald Trump and all the MAGAs always want to praise Argentina and their leader, Javier Milei, and even though there's 53% poverty rate right there, let's be clear of the growing Mexican economy. Mexico leads Latin America with a 22.5% rise in real wages, while Argentina sinks to last place with a 25% degrowth. So while MAGAs want to attack Mexico and praise Argentina, would you rather have 22.5% rise in real growth, or would you rather be Argentina with a 53% poverty rate, I mean 53% of Argentinians live in poverty, and a 25% degrowth rate in wages, a decrease? Folks, I'm a data guy. I just bring you the data. You decide for yourself. But I think it's obvious Donald Trump bent the knee. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers and check out MeidasPlus.com.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.